Hello, everybody, and welcome back to College COD and the Summer Cup. We've got 3 teams remaining and 2 casters remaining. I don't know, and 1 producer remaining. I don't know. We got things happening over here. We've got SEU Blue, St. Edward's University newcomers. Big shout outs to Pally Boy. What a recruiting job he's done to get him all the way to this point so far. And Ottawa Black on the other side, your number 2 squad from the College COD playoffs in the regular season. Proper. Good, looking fresh. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty darn good. I mean, apart from you making it seem like a horror film with the amount of casters and producers we have left, I'm surprised we made it this far towards the end. We still haven't found out who the villain is. I don't know where Scoot's at this point, but I'm here for the finals of the Summer Open, my man. I got to watch a lot of this action unfold throughout the day. Yesterday, we saw a lot of that action earlier on when Colin and Alex were bringing us a lot of that action. I'm excited to see more of the St. Edward's roster, man, because
Same.
yeah, like you said, Pally Boy job these together. They dropped 2 maps since we've gone to this double elimination bracket. They have a real big test ahead of them, though.
I will say though, there was a pretty shaky group stage for him. There were a couple of tight matches here or there. And let's be honest, we can't say the same thing about Ottawa Black because they're Ottawa
Yeah.
Black for crying out loud. And you look at the 4-man roster, 2 of the players on that team, Noisy and Fame in particular, were at Challengers finals in the North American region. Top 12 for Noisy, top 24 for Fame. Which honestly, small shout out to Fame. He turned his year around. It was a shaky season for him in the Challengers scene, but obviously very good success to kind of get himself back into the finals, things of that nature. So small shout out to the boy. But with that said, we take a look at the maps just kind of over the top side of us right here. Pretty slay heavy for the first 2 maps overall. Apocalypse, Hardpoint, Moscow, Search and Destroy. If there were ever a test for SEU Blue to come out and see if they can hang with Ottawa Black, I couldn't think of 2 better maps to do that than those 2 right there.
Yeah, the college season has literally just begun for athletes, and now you already have a pop test as far as how you're going to feel towards the pace difference SEU Blue versus Ottawa Black. Because for that exact reason, when you take a specified map set, the only thing that I see, even from the guaranteed, that there's going to be a lot of fast-paced gunplay, especially when you have one named Tyler Noy on the opposite side of the entire street. SEU. It's going to be tough, man. I mean, Thresh is huge representative. If you're following anything to challengers, entire scene from South America, they can bring a certain amount of power to it. But in the rest of the team, staying with Ottawa Black,
Sure.
that's the biggest question I have asking myself.
Yeah, that's a really good key, I think, just overall to kind of hang the entire series on maybe that point individually. Don't want to necessarily pin this up as being a, David versus Goliath storyline, but for all intents and purposes, I think it would be fair if you were to make that allusion over towards that reference in particular. So that's kind of what we have in front of us. We are still waiting. The lobby has been a little bit problematic for us. And of course, the loser of this matchup, as you just saw, Purdue takes down Penn State. So loser of this goes on to play Purdue. It was a little unfortunate, obviously, they weren't able to participate in the 2021 regular season playoffs, but during the Activision Blizzard Collegiate and the CCL tournament that happened immediately after the regular season, they did finish third. A close game 5 versus the Illini, but beyond that, they did play Carleton, I would say, pretty darn well overall, and they definitely showcased that this team, if they were to have played through the regular season, they probably would have found similar results in that large bracket that we had after the 2021 regular season.
Yeah, I produced one of the. I remember going all the way back to the Modern Warfare. That team, that name alone, just couldn't buy a search. Now you look at where a lot of these players are at.
We're past that.
I'm never gonna get past that. Look, I've been casting College COD for about 3.5 seasons now. It's gonna live in infamy forever, and I'm here to make sure that. But still, at the same time, this entire roster, they're not that same staple team that we were watching through Modern Warfare. Has a lot of help now, and a lot of that help is coming through by Tragic. Tragic is nuts.
He's nasty.
A lot of the things accomplished in that best of 5 series, Penn State, one of the very sole why that you have yourself as a top 3 team. They're going to be nasty going next season.
Yeah, and Penn State, they did kind of throw on, at least some contest throughout the entirety of that lower semifinals. Again, big shout outs to Alex and Colin on the cast for that one. But, the other thing we got to keep in mind is let's temper and measure some of our expectations here. Let's be honest. You wouldn't feel like the last 3 teams here had been spending a lot of time rehearsing, practicing, and getting scrims in for this. Maybe a couple of last-minute things to kind of keep themselves fresh on the game, but it's not going to be the expectations that we had for the regular season. So we'll see who really does come out and just outslay it from the get-go. And so far, it is all Ottawa Black, at least to start. 3 straight kills for them and a pretty hefty amount of time here on the first hill, while also maintaining the side that they would like going over towards the second hill in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, when you start on the favorite side for a popular start point, you get the option to just run out with about 3 Krigs, or you can just run with a 2 setup, because, again, you are battling from the favorite side. From the opposite, though, SEU, they immediately hit through P1, and completely overwhelm Ottawa Black halfway through the rest of the Hardpoint's lifespan. They start working their way in through the back, but they don't start setting themselves up. They don't necessarily try to stabilize the entire Ruins hold. It allows Ottawa Black to resurface.
Big moment here from Fame, able to find one. Thresh is nearby, other side of his shrine, and woo, he actually does find the second kill. Relk able to find the trade, but the spawns still stay chaotic, at least for a small time. Ottawa Black will get the spawns behind the gold stack, and Cruelty recognizing that, yeah, Relk is still somewhere over here. Able to find, ooh, almost doesn't find the trade. Actually, almost spoke too soon there, but the trades do favor Ottawa Black, and the rotation with those wins has now been secured for some significant time here in the second.
Spiraling out of control. SEU can't work way in, or on the opposite side, you can keep trapped here, and you just slowly start line of scrimmage. Trying to work their way through rugs right now. Here comes the hit out of St. Edward's. He's just gonna leave Relk last alive. They're gonna get some spawns in here too, with Fame just laser beaming. Tough shots coming out of this kid, but still able to lock things down on the fort. Solid piece from Ottawa Black.
Talk about just establishing dominance. Fame was essentially by himself for the better part of about 30 seconds, dealt with 4 straight kills, and that was enough to tell SEU Blue to get out of here. Go ahead and rotate over to 3, and they allow that to happen. Kruk watching the jump wall, able to find one, nearly gets a second, but Fame turning his attention back over, finds his 5th straight kill. 10-3 for the young man. An opportunity to possibly find streaks, and he'll take the high ground. Mantles over the top of the bridgeway, looking to make a play through TV, and there's number 6. Opportunity maybe for the artillery strike. He's got teammates nearby, but of course wants to value his life more than anything, so figure that everyone around him is just bait for eventually what will be this big mouth bass looking to get a 7th straight kill. I don't know why I just gave him that. I would put Fame in that, you know, what is the Billy big mouth bass, a little wall fish? I could see Fame being that guy. Singing the songs. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I did. I was ready to follow up with more fish references, and you just had to break me like
Just exhausting the reference as much as I can. Don't worry about it.
Picturing Fame 11-3 on a 6 streak, potential to get some 4 streaks going for themselves as well. Just up on a wall, mantled up with the 74U, just singing folk songs. Yeah, that's where our brain's at in this first map of this best of 5 series. But why wouldn't it be? I mean, it's an 8-point lead. Now we get to see what St. Edwards look like. They're in for the setup before, right? You got players trying to zone away Useless, players inside Chicken Coop. If you look at the swarm for Ottawa Black, they're attacking us from all sides.
There it is. Number 7 comes through. Fame looking for number 8 for the cruise missile. Relk tagged down, not super heavily, but maybe enough for him to potentially consider the contest, and now down to about a bullet, but the double net come through. Kruk's able to find and shut down the potential cruise missile. So 12-4 for Fame, really doing it all. But honestly speaking, in the face of that, SEU Blue is by no means out of this game. The cruise missile actually was earned, pardon me, he was able to earn that off hardpoint time. So the double streak will be there. It does find one elimination, but largely SEU Blue could still potentially contest this from the front. But I say that with hesitation as the kills come through for Ottawa Black. They do supplant any remaining Hilltopper members on the 4th hill, and with that, also trying to make a play for the spawns, but Thresh for 2, looking for number 3 to the pistol, able to grab it, and the rest of the mountain, or pardon me, the Hilltoppers. I want to call them the Mountain Goats because I see that logo, but it's the Hilltoppers who were able to overwhelm and eventually get into 5.
Hey, goats climb hills too, all right? They're lazy eating grass, but when they start going, they start running. Thresh's 4 streak will finally be put to rest. 13-7 for the kid. But they did exponential work. I was sitting there watching that entire time. Ottawa Black were hitting it from the flank, going towards Useless. Thresh, they had to find at least 2 kills. They find all 3. That bought ample time for St. Edward's teammates to work their way back over towards P5 side. But Ottawa Black, again, when it came down to rotationary kills, isolated engagements, really the only one that's been standing up to them on the opposite side for St. Edward's University has been really Thresh and Kruk. Yeah. Apart from that, Relk and Eons are not having a fun time. When we're talking about the pace being set by Fame, by Lightning, and everybody else from Ottawa Black, it's really hard to do unless you have the initial setup.
Yeah, not bad again for SEU Blue. Like you mentioned, Eon's not having the greatest of times as of yet, but does come away with a very important double kill to help secure the scrap time on 5. Split spawn situation here. Number 5 in Thresh behind the play, able to find 1 and a double. Look, here's the thing. I know a lot of people were really surprised that Team Smog did not make it through the LCQ, myself included, and a lot of it is because of a player like Thresh. As a main AR for that team, he's been so darn good. and he continues to keep this Hilltopper squad in the mix. But Fame has other designs in mind. 16-7, able to help open up some space around the first hard point, but the help is just simply not there. SEU Blue right back into the hill, and an opportunity to capitalize on the back 30 seconds of this hard point.
It's just so hard to capitalize when your main AR is the one that's frying for your roster. Again, 18 and 11, 19, but it's so hard to rally around that because your AR is just locking down lanes. Thresh isn't going to be the player to get aggressive here on Apocalypse Hardpoint, where you traditionally 3 submachine guns. The supporting members for SEUE Blue are the ones that need to be able to hang with the pace that's currently being set. Fame is 17 and 8. They're always in the front line, and they have a minute and 14 hardpoint time as well. They're just getting themselves so set up, and they're hitting it all the way through the backside of P2. The setup for SUE Blue, it did not last long.
Fame is just doing it all. I think the world at some point is wondering, where is Tyler Noisy Bailey? He has been absent from this SMG conversation throughout the entirety of this map. He's nearly double negative, which is not something we say hardly ever, but Fame is just doing it all. 20 and 9, still keeping the play in the back alive, has to value his life as he's the only remaining Ottawa Black member here. And for the Braves, they're looking to kind of overwhelm from multiple angles, but SEU Blue are doing a really nice job of kind of zoning things away, but you can't zone away Fame. Another double coming through. Eon's the next one up, and fortunately, he's able to put Fame down before another streak was in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the small blessings, right? Only a hard point is in between these two teams, but at least you finally say, or you stop them from earning more streaks because Fame is on one, and you're able to recognize that. Yeah, I mean, Noisy being double negative, I guess it's okay when you're at the point where you have Cruelty, Lightning, and Fame able to pick up the slack that isn't currently being brought up. But SUE Blue, I mean, they're starting to capitalize on top of that. They're starting to thrive in this chaos. Nice little shot punch from Crook. Will take down Fame again. Shots will recognize that Cruelty's in the middle of the map. They're starting to lock down this rotation. You just got to be able to read that the second hit is coming through the dip side.
This is literally just send out your best champion. I just want to see Thresh on Fame for the rest of this map. They're the ones that are really getting it done. SCU Blue, they've done enough. They've clawed their way right back into this game. Third hard point, looking to zone things out. Thresh in a little bit of trouble. Has to put down the AR in favor of a 74U. Help is here. They want to challenge the backside trench. Crook trying to work with it, and they go trade for trade, but Noisy, the last one to stay alive, right back into the mix to keep this hard point neutral.
Just about that, right? If SUE Blue can continuously keep things neutral, they can start focusing on the rotation. 3 to 4 is an easy one to lock down. If you have middle of the map coverage in Ottawa Black, they're able to recognize that, which is why you had players just lurking inside of Chicken Coop. It's going to give yourself a more familiar setup. Trying to hit it from the backside was Raux. Eons from the front. Miscoordinated pinch was not successful to take down Lightning, who's at 20 and 17 now, turning scrap into initial time for Ottawa Black, who have ample time left inside P4 to close it out.
Yeah, things could get out of hand quickly, especially with Lightning starting to heat up just a touch. These little solo pushes down the middle of the map are not going to get it done for SCU Blue. You have to set something up, and there's not a lot of time. Realistically, you have one more push to do this. And all 4 members of the Hilltoppers making their way over towards Coop. Cruelty watching the cave system. Semtex to clear out the Coop entrance, and then Lightning on the pinch with Noisy. They find 2, not gonna get a third. Eons keeps the play alive, but at 238 to 156, the break has to be here, and it's just simply not finding enough pressure. That is until Thresh able to work their way in. Relk now trying to find a shutdown on the Fame, which he does, and the map will extend just a touch.
Will just be a touch. It's only 9 seconds. That SUE Blue can essentially give up for Ottawa Black, and they're able to recognize that. They're starting to swarm on the backside, but you're dealing with Cruelty on head glitches. Fame on the opposite side. Noisy initially inside the hardpoint itself, and look at where all SUE Blue are spawning in at. You gotta run, and you're running through an artillery strike as well. Good luck, have fun. Ottawa Black, this will be the first map taken.
Good grief, Fame. What an absolutely unbelievable display from him. And what? Here's the thing. You talk about the differences between Ottawa Gold and Ottawa Black from the Cold War regular season. I think a lot of people on the initial release of the rosters were like, oh, they got Noisy and Fame. This team is going to be the better Ottawa team. And for a large majority of the season, that was the consideration generally amongst the community. The thing about it is, you know, you have this Ottawa Gold team that they played through challengers as a collective 4 for pretty much the entirety of the year. They grew together as a squad. They were helping each other out, and the team chemistry eventually kind of outweighed the initial favor from the resume that was built by Noisy and Fame during the Modern Warfare year. And it's just so surprising getting through, even now at the end of Cold War. You know, Noisy and Fame did not have the year that they had in Modern Warfare. And it still feels a little salty to say off the top of the tongue because they're both so talented, but you're kind of seeing maybe an instance why. They're playing on individual fronts. Fame has a great game. Noisy doesn't. SEU Blue nearly punishes him for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a cardinal conversation. I feel like we have across a multitude of titles, a multitude of different leagues, right? Simple individual strength will never outweigh good team chemistry, and that teamwork will always be felt when you're playing at the highest levels, regardless of the level that you're playing at, collegiate, all the way up to Call of Duty League, amateurs. Doesn't matter what region, doesn't matter what title. This will always exist when we're talking about fundamental game modes, hardpoint, search and destroy. The overall team chemistry, it's got to be there. The blind trust to be able to hit flanks, hit pinches at the same time, bait and switches, all of those little nuances have to be there. And the only way
Mm.
you start to find that is through teamwork and just, those overall scrims that you get across the entirety of the season. But as a whole, you can almost try to really lean on some of that individual strength. You saw it starting to work for a small amount of time for St. Edward's University. Thresh was starting to piece things
Oh yeah.
together. He just needed the submachine guns to do something, anything. And once they started to find at least some trades and started to find some of those crossfires, that's how you can almost rally behind a player in their
Mm.
solo strength. But when you have it on the opposite side versus Ottawa Black, with Fame and Noisy, I mean, Noisy was a non-benefactor, so forget Noisy out of this conversation. But Fame, the amount of value that they were finding from a submachine gun standpoint on the front line just always kept SUE Blue just on their back foot, and they just could never really rally back behind that. You can't do that with an AR. You need some machine gun presence, and
Yeah.
if it's not answered one for one, I know you wanted to see the Fame versus Thresh show, Alan. It just simply can't be done.
At least not in the apocalypse. Maybe something to be said about the search and destroy. But, we framed up this entire series under the guise and the question of would SEU Blue be able to hang with Ottawa Black? I
Sure.
think for a first sample size, we could probably all collectively say absolutely. Comeback was potentially on the cards. You just missed one rotation from 3 to 4. Obviously that plus Fame kind of solo locking down a number of different moments over towards the second hill are the difference makers. You can point at a couple individual instances where if the opposite happens, the score could have been completely flipped on its head. Maybe it's 250, 170 the opposite way. So, something to consider overall. Now that we look forward, because it's Moscow coming up for the search and destroy next, you would have to feel, generally speaking, with these squads coming in, maybe not getting the scrim time, you're just kind of playing to play, hoping that maybe you can survive off of your individual prowess alone, that this is going to be a lot of hits over towards Eskies with SMGs. That would be my bet, my guess. Maybe a couple of flip plays over towards the B side and apartments, but you'd have to feel like if these teams are just looking to get gunfights, a lot of it's going to happen over towards A. So, in your mind, what would need to change here for SEU Blue if that were to be indeed what happens coming up next?
Well, let's take away some of their better parts of that Apocalypse hardpoint. Again, we can go back to a lot of the different series that they played throughout the entirety of the weekend thus far, but this is the one that we really have to take away from because this is probably SUE Blue's toughest matchup by far throughout the entirety of the weekend since they formed as a four-man team.
Yeah.
Regardless, their biggest takeaway is when they were overwhelming certain instances, when they were hitting together, two players hitting from one side, the one pinch on the opposite. You really have to lean on things like that when it comes down to search and destroy. Because you're right. If you're going to lean on SMG pressure, which is what we see from Ottawa Black continuously, that's going to be a lot of A presence. So I almost would assume when it's St. Edward's University that when they recognize, hey, we're not winning the isolated gunfights, let's try to overwhelm together. You're going to see more methodical offenses in a way for defensive members to always be in trade potential. Whether you're thinking over by that A site, if it will be a rush, one by the bench, one over by the shipment dip, respect to keep that life. It's the only way that you're going to be able to deal with the aggression for Ottawa Black. You give them any ounce that they can end up clutching a 1v2 or just end up snuffing you out for a 3-piece, they'll do it.
All right, well, let's take a look to see how things unfold. My first prediction already kind of set, is incorrect, as here's the first hit over towards B. Interesting position for Thresh. He finds one, pops back up, nearly gets a second, but Noise is able to find the trade, so 3v3 we go. Eon's playing the outside of the truck, able to lock down a couple of shots onto Fame. Potentially going to be overwhelmed here in a moment. Good shoulder onto Noisy. Semtex to clear a bit of space. Underneath, Noisy can't finish. 8 single shots left. And he will back away. Likely have to reconsider as Kruk has reinforced the defense and the Hilltoppers will hold on to the B site.
You can see the players for Ottawa Black, they had isolated themselves. You had Cruelty over by Cutout. Last player was over by the Boulevard side. And it's also important to know the way that defensive setup was played for St. Edward's University was that Thresh had a submachine gun. Just inside a bar. It was Wade. I believe that he started that round initially inside the windows. Didn't see any information that you had a player initially over by Cutout. That's that player to be able to communicate to Thresh, hey, you're getting rushed by B. I saw 2 players cross by Boulevard, and the Thresh was just prone inside the bomb site. If you can at least go 1-for-1, which they did, that buys time for the defensive members to rotate back over. So wonderfully done to catch Ottawa Black off guard. And it wasn't an aggressive push towards A. It was over towards B. And it seems that SUE Blue are trying to frame up for middle of the map and a slow roll past Globe.
I'm not going to lie. We've watched this game for the better part of 11 months. I don't think I've ever seen someone solo defend the B site by laying prone in that corner.
Yeah, it was weird.
This goes to show. You think you know a game. And then in its last moments, it reveals something that you've never seen before. So now for SEU Blue, looking to turn defensive success into the attack, they're going to have to make this play over towards A. And careful here, because Noisy is already playing up towards this brick wall. I mean, for SEU Blue, you're going to have to finesse these chess tables better than Bobby Fischer in the 70s. And Kruk has already made his way forward. Going to be able to get some clearance, and Noisy will fall. Lightning, the only defender that's nearby, but Ottawa Black could rotate members through mid-map. And it looks like with that consideration, SEU Blue will make sure that the flank stays safe.
Smart. I mean, once you get over here, you just stabilize. But you don't have to push all the way through lobby. You know that there's still going to be a player in here for sure. But Eons can't get out with their life, evening things up 3 apiece. You still have lurking members inside a lobby. SUE Blue are fully aware of this, but they seem to have stabilized around the A side for now.
Fame up Eskies. He's going to have to find one here. And boy, does he. Clean shots coming through. Second player over on the corner. Cruelty there for the trade. Looking for one more. No!
Whoa.
Thrash responds to it absolutely beautifully. And SEU Blue looking good here. Good read on what was coming through mid-map. Didn't like the look over towards B, so why not flip? And the clearance of Brick ends up winning them the map. Or
and again,
round, I should say. Get ahead of ourselves.
4 rounds pass by like that. Oh, that's crazy.
Didn't you know 2-0's the new 6-0?
I didn't. I just keep getting older. Oh, my God. SUE Blue, I mean, much like how I said, I like the Moscow Search because, again, if they're going to deal with Ottawa Black getting aggressive and taking those forward positions, as long as they're in positions where they can find themselves some trades, that's great. That's all you have to do. They don't push through lobby, which, again, unorthodox to Moscow. SUE Blue says, we got the site. But Ottawa Black, here comes that aggression.
Jan's able to find one. Kruk there for a double. The double hit coming through mid Eskies. So darn good. I won't necessarily sit there and say that that feels like a frustration call for Ottawa Black, just, forcing a round peg into a square hole type situation. But you definitely wanted to see more, I would say, complete control as far as the slaying is concerned from Ottawa Black. And now it's just Cruelty left with a 1v3.
I always thought the square peg went into the round hole.
Whatever, whichever.
Some
peg into a non-correct shaped hole.
My imagination makes it fit. All right, here comes the challenge, though. Cruelty at least might line up a few players, get some collateral damage, but only find the first. That was just a few moments away from getting absolutely gnarly. But SUE Blue, I mean, again, there was no resistance pushed through the middle map. You'll see it from Kruk's perspective. There was no pushback through Gold Alleyway. The immediate resistance, all the flashes Semtex is thrown over top of that escalators building was there.
Yeah.
And then you're just able to complete the pinch from the inside. There was nobody from behind.
Small thing, too, that you saw Ottawa Black on their approach. They threw the trophy not inside the doorway to Eskies. They had it kind of in between the statue side and the Eskies side. So you see that Semtex blow up right in the face of the Eskies top staircase. And that finds damage, allowing Kruk maybe to find that easy double. So small things leading to maybe massive implications. Cruelty playing passenger. Backside Boulevard. Thresh does not see him initially. And it likely will be down to who sees who first, because you do have Lightning playing very far forward. Thresh very considerate of this angle, but Cruelty, as mentioned, finds him first. That'll be the kill. And really, for SEU Blue, you can't go B anymore.
Such a nerdy angle that Cruelty is holding over there. I mean, you see barely a pixel when you're channeling that from the bank side of Boulevard. But they still buy a lot of time, and what's most important about this is that there's still one player, on board with Lightning, underneath this window. Eons, you can see on the X-ray, is the bomb carrier. And the way that they're playing and working through the middle of the map, this is just unfortunate timing. Go 1-for-1 to bombs drop, though.
Yeah, trades just weren't going to be enough right there after Cruelty finds the first blood. So now it's down to Relk. His time for a 1v3 chance. It's not going to get off the ground. Ottawa Black finally get themselves on the board. It does really kind of take a little bit more patience and passivity, though, if that's a word. And, well, it just turns up really for me. Again, it just comes down to the fact that Cruelty finds first blood.
How would you even spell that? I don't think it's a word.
Passivity?
Passive.
Passivity.
Oh, it's a word.
Maybe. Is it really?
Wow.
Is it a word?
Look at you. Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, I Googled it and everything. I trust Google, right?
Nice.
I trust Google. All right. Yeah, that's a big round. I mean, yeah, it was more passive than I'm sure Ottawa Black probably wanted to play, but that's the respect you almost have to earn. SUE Blue are playing in numbers, so you have to win this with your brain. You can't just win it with your mechanical skill, and well, that is just, again, you got mechanical skill plus brain power. Double challenge through Gold Alleyway. Challenge it through Metro, you get 2 blasted.
I do like this, though, for SEU Blue. You still have this kind of linchpin of a rotation for Kruk watching mid-map, and Thresh, he has an opportunity with good trigger discipline, maybe to find a couple. Kruk's going to get the read that, yeah, there are players coming down, but he can't find Noisy. And then, ooh, the response from behind. Ottawa Black turn, snap, find the fire. Thresh's flank amounts to nothing, and we get through 5 rounds at a 3-2 score. Still in favor of the Hilltoppers, but the Braves fighting back.
Yeah, so I mean, this turn from the Braves getting wildly aggressive, saying, "Look, we just got done gunning them senseless," or in certain instances on that Apocalypse hardpoint. Let's try that out in the early stages of this Moscow search and destroy. It was not sticking, so now we're getting more methodical. Double challenge through the gold alleyway for the opening first blood and a second, plus the wrap back over to A. Now this Ottawa Black is starting to play as a team. And that's scary news if you're a fan of SEU Blue. 4-player stack, though, defensively through the middle of the map. They're almost expecting SEU Blue to do the same thing once over. They see one player, though, at the end of that alleyway, but it's all blue over by the A side.
You got to be really careful here if you're the Hilltoppers, not finding a first blood. How long do you really want to stay here? Cruelty gets a free look at Kruk. I don't know if he thought that he maybe could turn his gun a little bit further down, but all of a sudden, in this 4v3, SEU Blue are almost trapped on the A site. Lightning doing his diligence to make sure nobody's lingering behind in library. And with this, the Braves have complete isolation over the entirety of the map. This has to be a play for the Hilltoppers at A. They read that and get the bomb down. This is win condition for them in this odd man situation.
All comes down to this post plan setup. Player number 5 of Rauke is on that shipment heady. You got to think they at least have to find one, but the trophy system will be destroyed, so you know where the hit's coming from. You can't give up the flank. This is a well-coordinated 2-person pinch on both sides coming out of Ottawa Black.
But you have to win a gunfight somewhere. Good pushback for SEU Blue. 25 seconds on the clock. Noisy being the first one forward. He's able to find one. Famous second on the opposite side. Now we're just down to Thresh once again. Slide chow from Lightning. Takes it, and 3 rounds in a row for Ottawa Black to level us up at 3 apiece.
Yeah, and again, what you do when you do have that numbers advantage, you're able to recognize it immediately, right? You have the 4 players versus 3. You let the bomb go down, but you have time. You knew that Metro was already clear, so you're able to send 2 players on the backside of the lobby. And like you were saying, Shift, you got to win a couple of gunfights. But the thing about having 2 players on opposite sides, especially with how highly regarded all 4 of these players are for Ottawa Black, when it comes down to bait and switches on both sides, I'm sure that the comms were absolutely electric. The way that they were able to bait out from information and able to finalize a lot of kills on all different fronts. That was just a well-coordinated execute and overall collapse over by the A-bomb, even though SUE Blue seemingly had the win condition. They just could not win the opening gunfights or clean them up quickly enough. So Ottawa Black stringing together a couple rounds now, going for that gold alleyway control. Look at the respect that's brought out SUE Blue. They're not even challenging through Metro anymore.
There's no information here whatsoever for them. That's the big problem. This is going to have to be a blind rotation. All 3 members are coming. It's going to be coming to a head here right inside of the staircase to P2. Noisy Eons trading one another out. Thrasher part of the conversation as he's able to capitalize on the second kill for the Hilltoppers. And the rotation for the Braves shut down. Now they have to kind of force things to the front. But the good news is they were able to read that, yeah, 3 members just rotated out of A. So we can wrap this to the Reskies and get a quick plan.
You almost have to think that you're about to double up here, essentially, if you are Lightning and Cruelty. You're going to try to read this hit coming out from lobby. Cruelty just absolutely blazes Eons down. The player for the win condition, though, you see where Ralk is slowly moving their way through escalators. Lightning just turned around. They know that this hit is available to them because it's taking a while. 26 seconds for the pitch is about to come through.
Yeah, that's a really tough angle from Eons. So now Relk has to make a play, finds one. Cruelty. Good look over the top of the bomb site. Clean shots onto Relk. Now 1v1. Thresh has to make the first move, and boy, does he! The timing is perfect! Gets on, plenty of time for the defuse, and the Hilltoppers break the stalemate. They go up 4-3.
I mean, that was a big round for SUE Blue. You do not want to be losing that, not when you had numbers, even for the retake standpoint as well. You threw that the first challenge. It was isolated versus Cruelty from pillars inside a lobby. And that was just a little bit of information that you needed as far as any sort of retake way it was possible. Once Ralk ended up coming back through escalators, you're able to clear out that entire side, so you're able to, by process of elimination, probably just understand that that last player of Lightning is not maybe over by Boulevard, could over by the staircase, over by the bush. So wonderfully executed coming out from SUE Blue. Some timing from Thresh never hurts as well. Be able to take back this lead, although by 1. They're going to try their aggressive hand as a 4-player rush towards A.
Defensively, passiveness coming through for Noisy and Fame. Noisy, you had to figure, has an SMG. Looks like Fame does as well. These are double subs that are trying to defend this site, trying to overwhelm us. SEU Blue with the nade from Noisy allows them a chance to find 3. Good damage coming out, and then Fame deals with the 1v1 outside pillars. But what a play from Noisy to go 1v multiple and walk away with 3.
Yeah, we'll see it from their perspective again. Noisy, there's the first Semtex and then the reach out as well. I don't think that third player had any idea that Semtex was thrown, but they legitimately just jump on top of it, just get down, Eons, trying to soak up as much damage. It doesn't work like that here in Call of Duty, though. And much like how I said going into this Moscow Search and Destroy, if you give any one of these 4 players for Ottawa Black the opportunity, the chance to be able to put themselves in highlight reel situations, they will come out of on top. And Tyler Noisy, although really, really slow through the APOC hard point, comes alive here in that Search and Destroy round. And again, it's more passiveness out from Ottawa Black. Again, getting in the mental of SUE Blue. We're trying to find some information. What a flash. The Flying Thresh in the middle of the map, though. Still takes the chow.
He should find the trade here, no problem. But the response, Relk, that's a deep angle. He's all the way back, kind of by that little yellow hut outside the second hard point. Clean shots from Relk. We see you, brother. So 3v2 after the trades come through the middle of the map, and for Ottawa Black, it really just lies on Fame. And I'll say this much, the one player who struggled so far for SEU is the only player defending the B site. That was Eons. He's dismantled, and now a chance for Lightning to get a plant in this 2v2.
Look at how you're just clearing all of this as well. If you are Lightning and Fame, I think they might just push all the way through lobby, too. I mean, you got PD control. You clear all the way through apartments. This becomes a timing thing. Yeah, I like this call actually coming through. Crook sniffs it out, though. He knows that something's up. There's a lot of time still left. About 20 seconds. Rotation could come through. The Lightning, second guessing, goes back towards B, and then Fame goes down. That's the information for Lightning. We'll be able to plant this bomb, but where do you go from here?
The only option is to play over through the middle of the map, and Crook was there. Wow, what a nice little retake that is from SEU Blue. I was right there with you, Andy, when you were talking about Ottawa Black, maybe even rotating this over back towards A. They would have had maybe a timing to get there and isolate one player, but you stick towards B. It's a kind of surrounding hit from SEU Blue. One player through Boulevard, one player through Metro. Each walk away with a kill. That's a beautiful retake of the B side in the 2v2.
Yeah, it's almost like you're sitting there in a Scantron test and you try to fill in the first bubble. You're like, oh, I don't know, but what if it's B? And then you go back, you're like, no, it can't be B. It's got to be A. And you go back, and that little bit of hesitation means that it's the wrong answer. I've been there so many times through my years of college. It's just straight pain. Just straight. Because you get the Scantron test back, you see all the eraser marks, you're like, damn, I could have done better. But Ottawa Black, though, again, second-guessing themselves. A lot of time for the rotation to come through middle of the map. And the pinch was very successful there at the end, so... Map point here for SUE Blue to tie things up going in towards that raid control. Can they do it? And that is just some great bit of information. You know that Ottawa Black's been playing passive the past 4.5 rounds. So just at least get yourself the information over by pillars and then try to wrap through the middle of the map, Thresh for first blood.
This is a great little bait and switch opportunity coming out. Cruelty now left alone, and maybe that's enough. He finds himself too, still plenty healthy and a trophy to keep him safe. Regen will be there. Defense has rotated over, and the bomb has been dropped. So now Thresh going to have to do something unbelievable. Not going to be allowed to. Lightning and Cruelty teaming up for some shots to find the easy kill. And it comes down to Relk, 1v3. The only bit of good news is he's playing from the opposite side of the map. But in that exchange that we saw from Noisy playing over through bricks, I have to imagine that he was scouted out before he kind of turned tail and ran.
Oh, he had to have. Because, I mean, going forward off of that, Relk just, again, had not moved. They had to have almost locked eyes, digitally, of course. That's why they just... like a deer in headlights, just don't move. But you had that one round to give up going into a round 11, and then it seems that it's just going to go down to the game clock. There's just simply no way that Relk, with 14 seconds remaining, Crick 6 in hand, that you're finding all 3 of these kills. It'd be impressive. It'd be a highlight reel. But it's just simply not going to happen. So round 11 coming in between these two teams. SUE Blue, again, they started off real hot, did the Hilltoppers.
Oh, for sure.
Relk might be able to get at least one. No, the melee is not a... That's not how you shoot the gun. So you melee with it. But anyway, yeah, they started off real hot. And Ottawa Black, they were starting to respect it. Look, we're not getting aggressive anymore. Let's play more methodical. The double challenge in the middle of the map, they were able to buy that respect that, hey, we are no longer getting aggressively chowed. So now it's just going back to tried and true search and destroy, trying to bait out the information. And now my answer is here. What size are we going to be looking at? It is St. Edwards, the Hilltoppers on the offense. I don't really like that, though. I think that their defense has definitely looked a lot better at shutting down Ottawa Black's offense, because Ottawa Black, again, taking that big adaptation of essentially giving St. Edwards absolutely nothing has been their biggest problem.
Here we go. Fame, Cruelty, mid-map defensively. 3 members of SEU hitting the same exact area over through the backside of mid. Do any of these nades find information? It doesn't look like it. And Fame, who continues to toggle between an AR and an SMG, this time has a sub. Semtex over the top, does that find any damage? No, it doesn't. Oh, but he finds one! Trying to put maybe down a trophy system, the second in the corner, over to the Diamante. Fame extending his life, a touch goes over to the pistol, but the trades are there for SEU. Lightning from behind, shut down. It's all up to Noisy. He wants to go quick, finds the first, and that will turn things into a delayed 1v1.
Well, they're complete opposite sides of it, just ring around the rosy. Noisy versus Thresh. Thresh is going to hold this L trigger towards this window. I mean, he knows the timings at this point. He's been competing all year long. So is Noisy, though. And that's what just makes this 1v1 so great. The bomb's going to get retrieved, though. Thresh has the 74U. They're going to work into apartments, go for this plant. And it's a smart call for Noisy as well. You need to go all the way back over by this rustic bus. You wait for the plant to come through. Let's see how they retake.
This is the right post plant, though, for Thresh, knowing he's got an AR and Noisy only has a sub. Play him on the boulevard, but Noisy's shots initially so good. But Thresh picks up the weapon, gets into the mix, doesn't miss a bullet of his own, and it'll be a round 11 win for SEU to tie up the series at 1. And this little play from Croc realistically saves the round for SEU.
Yeah, it absolutely did. You know, when I was seeing Fame getting wildly aggressive towards the middle of the map, they found that first. I thought that they were ended up going to make that an entire 3-piece, but Croc, much like you said, that one play, finding that one double kill in the middle of the map, really saved the entire round for the Hilltoppers. Going forward off that, Thresh, last player alive, again, just did such a great job of just clearing out so many different angles, being able to put themselves in sort of that bomb plant. The one angle they didn't cover, and they knew it. I gotta go check the boulevard side. Let me go check my back real quick. It was a 74U battle at range, and the shots were initially so good, but that's why we talk about Thresh. Welcome to the club, kid, because you are just doing great things with this SEU Blue squad.
Through 2, we're tied at 1 apiece. It'll be Raid coming up next for the control. We'll step away for a brief break, and we'll join our teams with a bit of a frame up to what we should expect going into map number 3 right after this. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're tied up at 1 map apiece. Ottawa Black not quite able to get things done in the search and destroy after surviving and successfully riding the Fame train through Apocalypse Hardpoint. Raid Control up next. My hold shift with me proper. Follow that man right there. By the way, he looks good with that little background and the little plaid shirt. I had a shirt like that when I was in college, actually. You actually kind of look like what I would wear to college courses. I'm not going to lie.
Are you saying that I look like a college student right now?
Yeah.
Because we take those compliments of that.
We do.
So thank you. I'm gonna go shave and I'll look like I'm a high school student. Bet. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all I'll say. Just one big fat you're welcome. Raid Control, though, coming up. And, you know, one of the big things we framed up this entire series with was, hey, could SEU Blue hang with the speed and prowess that Ottawa Black is known for, especially considering the map mode combinations we had for the first 2? We've gotten our answer now. We can officially stamp it. Yes, they cannot just hang. They can actually beat these guys. So for Raid Control coming up next, obviously all eyes on the offense. This is probably the most offensively favored control map we've had so far in the year. I mean, at the end of the year, it's easy to say that. And I feel like if you're going to be able to find success and take this swing map, it needs to be off of successful attacks here for SEU Blue.
And this is where the teamwork needs to be at an all-time high, right? You know, you take some of those different hits, some of those retakes for a lot of those bomb sites that we saw from Moscow, and a lot of those setups and breaks that we saw from the Apocalypse Hardpoint. Now you just put that all inside a big old witch's brew, and you stir it together, and you got a Raid Control. Would love to be able to see them be able to finesse through the middle of the map. They will be on offense first and foremost. They're going to work their way towards A initially, and I love to see that they're all stacked together, leaving Eons behind to try to clean up the flank, but Lightning works their way into red. That should upset things for the time being for SEU Blue on their initial A offense.
Oh, Eon waking up a little bit here. Good double from him. Fame able to save the first tick of progress from being confirmed, but off the respawn, look at SEU Blue making their way through the middle of the map, and more importantly, already through basketball. Relk is really far forward. This is aggressive, and he knows for a fact that Ottawa Black will be spawning in front of him here at Laundry, so he's able to sit around jungle and farm up some free kills. Thresh mid-map, danced with by Lightning. But that is a tango for 2 that he's not going to find a way to win. And Noisy, meanwhile, deals with the pesky jungle lurk of Relk. So after the first tick of progress comes through at B, pressure defensively will eventually retake, and it will stop the second tick from being confirmed.
Yeah, that was just an interesting call altogether for St. Edwards. I mean, I totally see it. You want to zone away. You want to find a couple spawn kills, but you left players just one on the B zone, one in the top bedroom, and then one towards the middle of the map. So you didn't have kitchen control, you didn't have money window control, and you were slowly working your way through that second tick. I mean, granted, Ottawa are not depleting that second tick of progress, so you can work your way back in. Lives are not gone by any stretch of the imagination, and yeah, Eons has certainly woken up. 5-2, Austin Cruelty inside of money will not be dealt with too easily until Thresh puts them down. Trades coming through will forever favor the defensive team, but you still have Rel slipping the net, working their way towards B. But that just bought time and space for the real hit over towards A.
Yeah, the second tick of progress is locked in on B. So realistically, job is done on both fronts. And there's an opportunity now to maybe even play around the back. You do obviously see Crook is right here looking to maybe threaten this backside kitchen. Over the middle of the map, Thresh, huge win under Cruelty, survives with 5 HP. So now the threat is not just established for maybe a play through the back, but with that win, the mid-map is now open, trying to collect some kills are Noisy. Able to find one through Zig. Double hit coming through as Lightning number 7 in white is able to find one more. So now all of a sudden SEU Blue are almost a bit trapped in the middle of the map, and that will eventually turn things into a pretty steep life advantage for the first time for Ottawa's defense.
Yeah, and you can see what St. Edward's University are continuously trying to go for. They're solo chowing one by one out from Zig. It will finally come through by way of a double chow to try to get middle of the map. And this is what I was talking about. Once you do get that A zone, how do you end up getting over towards the B? You got to get middle of the map first. And well, St. Edward's University, they recognize that. But Ottawa Black, they're not willing to give it up too easily. Look at this stack inside a kitchen. Good luck.
Yeah, this is not looking good whatsoever. And keep your eye on Fame, who's all the way in the back, trying to manipulate where exactly he's going to force St. Edward's to spawn. Lives are being at least somewhat marginalized, though. 45 seconds on the clock. Hilltoppers making their play through ring. Fame still in the back. Again, keep your eye on number 5 in white. When does he want to get activated is the real question, and maybe make a flank occur. You can also obviously just come right back up to bedroom and play a little bit safer. Lightning, mid-map. Oh, lots of damage tagged up, but Thresh finds the kill. Following up, though, are Cruelty and Noisy, and this entire push has been, well, pretty much transparent, as SEU Blue are really not going to have a lot of time to get their way back over towards B with only 4 lives.
No, you don't understand. Lightning just found that stick from Tiki to back jungle. You don't understand how crazy that stick is. That's crazy timing. I literally watched the arrow on the mini-match just fully turn around. One player left alive, Relk just spamming through the doorway. That was a awkward gunfight, but the round would regardless for Ottawa Black. But you're still able to secure 5 ticks of progress, and that's still really big if it does end up going, defense for defense all the way down. We got to be sure that we do keep track of that for St. Edward's if Ottawa Black do get held off on their upcoming offense. But as far as the first look in a first glimpse goes versus arguably the best team on the weekend right now in Ottawa Black, the Hilltoppers look good. Again, stacking together, able to build off of Eon's hot start. Thresh was starting to pick things up. They were buying a lot of space. The problem was that when things slowed down, they just could not get middle of the map back. They couldn't sufficiently find a kill feed to work their way towards the B zone.
4-man stack for SEU Blue on this defense through the middle of the map. And Cruelty keeps safe the flank. So all of a sudden, how do you retake this A zone? Or do you just have to immediately sit there and say, all right, we have to chalk? This entire play has mostly been quelled. Eons, though, able to find one, maybe a chance, gets a second onto Fame. Okay, good to see Eons having himself a map at 8-8 at the moment, but a lot of impacting plays around the control zones themselves. Thresh in the back has actually denied most of these reinforcements from coming through freely, even backing up is Noisy, so he has to step off the A zone for a moment, although the second tick of progress is going to be imminently secured here in just a moment.
And you just fully concede this if you are SUE Blue, right? I mean, you don't want to lose more lives on the exit, but I mean, they're still kind of in a forward position. You got players inside of red still trying to at least find a couple of exit kills, and well, at least you were able to marginalize that life lead that Ottawa Black currently held over top of you, but now you just got to zone away. Back tiles is good. Back red is fine, but nobody read that Noisy off the respawn already hit through bedroom. There goes the A zone, an extra 60 seconds on the board. You also have Noisy trying to create some space over towards B. Ralk has to go big from the top bedroom position.
This is a really tough defensive position to try to recuperate from. Yeah, sure, you've got one player over towards bedroom, but that's Relk essentially on his lonesome. Kitchen compromised. Ottawa Black using this as maybe a bit of a staging area for both Fame and Lightning. Noisy heals with Relk through bedroom. Eons able to get one and slip away. That's so good from Eons. Where was this Eons the first 2 maps? Are you kidding me? He looks like a totally different player all of a sudden.
All of that hot start, and he's just picking up on a lot of the space that's being provided by Thresh. This is what I was asking for, going back to the Apocalypse hardpoint. Somebody needs to pick up on a lot of the damage and value that Thresh is finding with the Krig 6. Finally, Eons gives us that answer, just laying prone behind towels. We'll end up finding one. But that ends up just opening up a very nice kill feed for SUE Blue. Again, trades will forever favor the defensive team. Just under 1 minute, 1 life lead for Ottawa Black. They're stacked in around this condo trying to bull rush their way towards B, where SUE Blue have dominance middle of the map.
Semtex from Lightning, that pushes back Eons. Isolates the player in the corner, but Thresh is good for 1. Noisy there for the immediate trade, and with 3 members falling, Ottawa Black now making headway to get over towards the B zone. Ooh. Can stall the clock with this, and they've got a 3-life lead. Beyond that, you have the ability to shut down Crook's play from the flank. So now it's just down to, can you hold off one more defensive retake from SEU Blue? You do that, you possibly win the round. Thresh able to find 1, lining up a second, able to get involved. Now Eons finding the 3rd in the mix, and that will be enough to also fully clean things up. Thresh finishes off Cruelty with the pistol, and 30 seconds on the clock, tied at 11 lives apiece.
Got that first tick, though. Slowly starting to whittle your way forward, but this is going to be your last full-ditch attempt for Ottawa Black to work your way towards this B zone. They're going to do it the same way that they got in the last time, just playing trades from Condo, but they got Thresh. Down lane is able to find 3. Cruelty finally trades them out. 13 seconds remaining. It is 9v8, and if you're player number 6 of Cruelty, you're the furthest player pushed forward. You got to touch, but Crook's behind is able to upset that. Fame for the trade, but it's just Fame. Can they get there in time to try to stop the clock? No, they can't, because Thresh will shut it down. What a 3-piece from Thresh to stop that offensive push coming out from Ottawa Black. We go defense for defense so far, and as far as the tick lead is concerned, well, it is currently in SUE's favor.
I'm not going to lie. If there is anybody out there looking to maybe pick up a Challengers team next year, get all of Team Smog in the States, because if Thresh is doing stuff like this, like, he was good all through last year. We had a couple of times to kind of watch him doing some Latin American coverage, apart with the Blink guys through their regular season. But, man, I'll tell you, it's hidden a little bit different now that he's sitting in Austin, if that is indeed the case. I don't know if he's fully gotten himself into Texas, but my goodness, he's looked so darn good. But he's going to have to look even better than that now, as he's the last player left alive. Ottawa Black threatening through Zig. Relk there with a nice Semtex to help out, but Fave eventually gets the trade, and Ottawa Black will set themselves up aggressively on the defense.
Just continuously trying to clean out middle of the map. SUE Blue, they're trying to at least resurface themselves back towards one of these zones. It would not feel great to have that 1-tick lead and then get full health for a defense. Leave it up to Destiny for your next upcoming round. Big trades coming through, all the angles being locked down for Ottawa Black. No entrance to A at all for SUE Blue. You still have players pushed up. Thresh is trying to find the challenges. Noisy's going to give it to him, but Fame will clean them up. And now you just got to take for what it is. You're going to spawn adjacent over towards the B zone. Just go try to work the opposite zone and try to upset this defensive hold that Ottawa Black hold.
Wow. The ARs from SEU looking really solid at the moment. 23 and 11 for Thresh. I mean, goodness, I don't know if you can put a leash on a mountain goat, but if you were able to, someone please do it, because he's getting out of hand. This is unbelievable. And even in the effort, not a lot of work being done offensively. It's really tough. I mean, Ottawa Black, all of that said and done, they're still, with these SMGs, locking things down so nicely on every single route that could potentially be opened by Thresh. Last-ditch effort will have to be made through the A zone here if you want to extend an extra minute onto the clock. Thresh up close and personal, has Lightning to shake hands with, and he will not Fame there. Team shots coming in, so now it's down to Relk, trying to hold on. Last player left alive, gets Fame down to 1, able to find elimination, but it's Lightning who gets the trade, down to 120 HP. Lots of damage confirmed, he gets a second, but Thresh off the respawn, gets right back into the play, and there will be a stack for a second tick at least.
This is fine, though. You have a 6-life lead if you're Ottawa Black, so you just give up the 60 seconds and just essentially just play for the exit kills, and you just let them know that we can keep you trapped here. Players inside of red, Noisy over by Waits will finally be dealt with by Eons. Just slowly working away a lot of these lurking members, because if Ottawa Black continuously find isolated engagements, they're catching SUE Blue off guard. This is where they start to find their strides, though. Teamwork, cross shots, able to work their way from one zone over towards the next. You got to deal with Fame and Slide Cutout. Eons is going to be tasked to do so. And then it's basketball court. The stack might come through soon to follow.
On Thresh keeps clear the kitchen. It's just on to Cruelty. And he's playing inside the basketball hut. He finds 1. That's good to kind of alleviate some of the stack pressure that could have been there for the Hilltoppers. Watch the flank. You've got Noisy on the backside once again. Croc not able to respond to it. Noisy good for a double. That'll clean things up in a 5-life deficit for SEU Blue. And with that, you have to feel like this next hit is probably their last chance. Don't even worry about the clock. It's all about the lives.
Yeah, it's legitimately all about the lives. 2 extra respawns remaining for the Hilltoppers, and honestly speaking, that was probably one of their best looks to try to work their way in here. I almost feel like going forward, maybe you just don't try to assault this one more time. you don't start feeding kills towards going in towards the next round. But now they're going to try to work their way through kitchen. They're actually going to find tax on the lightning. If you can find this kill and isolate it, this would be good. But you got to flood, and you got to find all these kills in sequence.
Tough gunfight here for Fame, holding a close corner with an AR. But he's able to find one. Second one going to be there. Noisy able to help out. The trades will be there, and not enough time to touch. SEU Blue, a last-ditch effort, cut a touch short, and we go into round 4 with Ottawa Black up 2-1 with successful defenses. Hey, we sit at the top of this map. If SEU Blue were to find a way to beat Ottawa Black, they would need to do it with at least one successful offense. And like you had mentioned after the second round, the overall tick progression battle so far, I would have to say, is definitely edging towards Ottawa Black's favor for a round 5 defense.
It's actually a 1-tick lead for St. Edward's University.
Well, because they played 2 offenses.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah. But this is where I'm getting to, right? Because if you're able to even things up for Ottawa Black, you take a look at the list from top to bottom. How do you end up deciphering who's going to get the defensive side next? You got to look at the KDs. And just Fame and Cruelty, as well as Noisy, starting to heat things up. This is where the deciding factor might have to go. So the Hilltoppers hoping for at least a nominal full hold. Just don't let them fully capture one of these zones, and you're going to secure yourself a defensive side more or less. But the way the Ottawa Black played this opening break-off, the stack over towards A is surely in. All the angles being covered. You got one player left over inside of top laundry, but they can only just throw some shots. What an early A zone secure out of Ottawa Black.
Copy-paste of what we saw from SEU Blue. It's just Relk over by Apartments. Cruelty's able to find the first blood. Noisy looking to get involved through the middle of the map, and Fame happy to hang out by Ring. Puzzling. Cruelty, nice angle there. Finds Thresh at long range. Relk, beautiful recovery. Goodness me. So now it's up to Ottawa Black as they have a couple of split spawn situations. One down towards Garage, one up towards Ring. It's going to be a 2-fold hit. 2 from the front, 2 from the back, and both finding success. Eons, 20 and 20. Much better with this AR so far. Going to have to really showcase that here. Sees Fame coming around the back, finds the kill, 4-man feed. SEU Blue stabilize.
Yeah, and you have just constant pressure for Ottawa Black, just always looking at Ring, because you're always going to have a defensive player. This time it's Relk, just looking for Ring positioning, right? Because once you get the confirmation from SUV Blue, hey, they're all coming towards B, you have the opportunity to either push through Red, through Zig, and then you have a flank for potential for some top bedroom. Relk doesn't take that choice. Going back through the middle of the map, Lightning will meet them through open staircase, and you also have some help through Zig. That's going to be Fame to find those long-range shots on the Eons. Another good kill feed could open up the floodgates to try to work your way towards B if you saw players on basketball court.
Noisy making a way forward, trying to deal with that player outside basketball. No problem there. Rel completely isolated, but now the defense trying to make their play through window. Lightning off the reload. Eons for 1, Eons for 2. Not going to get a third, but it may not matter. The defense starting to rotate over very quickly. Crook the next one up. Has help from Relk right behind him, and a flank is starting to develop. Maybe try to pinch from the middle of the map. Relk good for 1. Eon's also trading mid, and that's going to be enough to quell some of this early pressure from Ottawa Black, who now have to reset up with 12 lives.
And you have to stop them from getting this the second tick over here at B. That's how you solidify the defensive round if you're SUE Blue, which is why you see them just constantly just swirling their way towards a lot of these choke points, but they're taking a lot of time. You see these players trying to work their way through Ring and through Kitchen. You also have a stack through Ottawa Black, bull rushing their way through the pool side. You got players on the Rock Head Glitch and players inside of Tiki. SUE Blue, they're got to work this pinch through open.
Fame finds the first. Thresh able to turn things into a 3v3 onto the zone itself. Pinch play trying to develop. Noisy trades out with Eons. Thresh still holding his life. 1v1 with Lightning wins that as well. 33 and 22. 17 plays on the objective and a 4 spree for Thresh. 8 seconds on the clock. Desperation for Ottawa Black. Try to touch one more time, but you don't want to give away streaks. There's kill number 5 for Thresh. And we're going to go to a round 5, and we'll see if Proper's math is good.
Oh, wait, why you got to put it and frame it like that? Because now I'm just not confident in it. But I've been writing on my little legal pad here, okay? I've been keeping track of a lot of KDs. I've been doing the math. I got my TI 83 plus calculator on the side. And I'm able to decipher that St. Edward's University, they should have the defensive side, all right? I'm gonna stand by this. But yeah, I mean, like, when you just start feeding Thresh a lot of those kills towards the end, this is starting to lead into some disaster situations, because the way that Thresh has been playing the opening breakoffs, they're always going to put themselves in positioning such as Tiki. That's exactly where they're headed right now. That say Ottawa Black try to chow out from the top side of bedroom, you can feed them streaks, but Ottawa Black, every single offensive round, they've always favored the A ring first. And it's, well, don't fix what ain't broke, I suppose.
That's very true. Both teams empty from offensive rounds. That would have to change here for Ottawa, or the swing map will tilt in favor of the Hilltoppers. Eon's on 4. 30 and 25, 34 and 23 for Thresh. My God. Now to the pistol. Nearly gets it done versus Lightning, but the hit through the middle of the map starting to clear out screens. Thresh looking to get involved in points, does he? Gets two, almost a third. Noisy puts him down, but then Relk defensively makes sure the A zone stays safe, and this is valuable time off the clock for the defensive SEU Blue.
And Thresh doesn't find streaks either. So now Ottawa Black at least a little bit of weight off of your shoulders. You got those 2 ticks over at A. You don't have to worry about the streaks coming out from Thresh. Now you're trying to resurface yourself over towards B. Literally coming out of the pool, just trying to pounce on top of these players. Again, another slide chop from Fame going in towards Thresh on basketball court. The stack is about to be in. You can see how SUV Blue are essentially playing this. You're spawning all the way up by Laundry. You have to give this up. If you found that kill on the Lightning through Zig, that would have been great. The trades come through regardless. But you found the easier or the harder of the 2 zones to take first for Ottawa Black. And you have 2 ticks of progress over towards A with 2 minutes and 22 lives.
Ooh.
Shift, I'm scared.
I'm scared as well, but Relk is making a huge play right now. Number 4 in blue is forcing Ottawa Black to spawn AC, and the defense is primed and ready for any hits to come through kitchen or through mid. But trades start to unfold. SE Blue need to rotate back around. Only 1 tick of progress between Ottawa Black and a map 3 win. Lightning in the back deals with the pesky player of Relk. Now you can turn your attention forward, but watch out for lingering trophy systems. May not make a difference, though. Last player defensively nearby is Eons. He's had a great game so far, but this could be the best moment for him in this game, holding on to red. And Ottawa Black, who continue to still spawn pretty far away from this zone, are looking for an entry. And maybe they have found it, making their way through driveway. They read Eons, find the second kill. Relk trying to keep his life on the ring. He doubles up as well, and the defense still holds. 15 playing 15 in the lives.
And we shaved a minute off the clock as well. SUE Blue are holding strong. Thresh is up to 40 and 26. Crook with the slide shot on the Diamante middle of the map. Can't find that kill, but it's information trade. They know where Ottawa Black are going to be setting up over by red. You can have it, says SUE Blue. We're fine. We're playing these longer range engagements because you have to work the zone before we have to take it back.
This has been an absolute murder. Look how many kills are on the board. I don't think I've seen a single control with this many total eliminations. 41 for Thresh. Eon's behind him at 32. And on the other side, you've got 3 players over 30 for Ottawa.
That's absurd.
Goodness gracious. You want electricity in the control. It's been provided. But who can be the Thomas Edison of this map to try to put this one away? Truck, mid-map, red, dealt with. Now it's just down to 1 last hit for Ottawa. Potential hit through the middle. Noisy clearing out the pesky player beyond. But Thresh from the mid-rock, able to find one. An opportunity to stall the clock. 8v7 the situation, and Fame keeps the mid-map safe. Now Crook. Oh, he's got to go. He's the only player here defensively. He's not able to touch in time, and Ottawa Black with a 2-man stack win the first offense here in the 5th round. And it's a bloodbath, but in the end, it's the Braves who find themselves up 2-1 in the series.
There were over like 300 kills. It felt like. That's an exaggeration. But every single round essentially went to the game clock. That was the first round that it finally went through in tick progression. That was the first offensive round win that we had in round number 5. Otherwise, it all went to game clock. A lot of the time, it went down to lives. And that's just insane with how close that raid control truly was. Thresh went on an absolute tear. You got to think that they're frustrated at a certain point in time. They killed so many people from Ottawa Black. How do you still end up losing that final round? But it does not matter. It was the opening breakoff from Ottawa Black continuously. Their A offense off the rip through driveway was absolutely pristine. That was the first time all offensive side long that they didn't capture the A zone off the opening rip. Apart from that, they constantly always found middle of the map, red control, and always assaulted it from there on out. Once they had to recognize, look, we're losing a lot of lives. Let's slow things up. Let's deal with the flanking members. Step 1 done. Let's take back middle of the map. And red, step 2 done. And then step 3, let's find some early engagements as we're working out from red so we can finally get ourselves on the ring. The second that those 2 kills came through over by the God spot and over by the outer ring, you just saw Ottawa Black, just a flip of a switch. They were on that zone just like wildfire.
Unbelievable stuff. I'm not going to lie. This has been the most exhausting series I've casted in a long time. These have been 3 tremendously close maps.
This is a great series.
And we're at least still in for a 4th. It's the Moscow Hardpoint to come up next. And man, it's an AR's delight, it feels like, on stream right now when we're going to a map mode combo that will definitely give us the icing and, of course, the cherry on top, potentially with standoff in the wings for map number 5. You got to still remember, this is the winners finals here, friends. Purdue has got to be sweating watching this match happen, saying, we got to play one of the two of these guys. I'm sure they're equal to the task, but this has been an unbelievable display so far, considering the fact that we are so far removed from the regular season. We've got a brand new school being represented at SEU Blue, and they look absolutely primed to potentially maybe upset a major favorite from the college COD scene throughout the entirety of the year with one of the major Ottawa schools. So with that in mind, Moscow Hardpoint, I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't automatically just throw a lot of weight onto Thresh's shoulders, but something to be said about Eons maybe waking up a little bit. He did swap from an SMG to an AR, so
That's right.
maybe the same thing to kind of unfold here for map 4.
And it all just depends on which side of the map they start on, right? I mean, we've been seeing that happen through the opening break. Maybe a lot of teams can run 3 quick setups if you do start on the P2 side, because you can just lock down those longer ranges sight lines. And as long as the engagements continue to come to them, that's where SUE Blue were absolutely flourishing. You go back to the Apocalypse Hardpoint when they had setups, the Moscow Search and Destroy in a post plant, the Raid Control when they were just playing defense. Every single time that they could play the unforced errors from Ottawa Black, that's when they look great. A triple quick setup surely is going to be in the consideration for Moscow, unless they're trying to break hills, and then obviously you need that second submachine gun on front. Unless Thresh just goes AWOL again, you know, the headshot multiplier with a Crick 6 hip fire, it can be pretty nasty. Get Thresh in there. Why not? Get dirty. I don't care. But yeah, Eons is one of those players. You remember Crook also had a great round 11 as well through the Moscow Search and Destroy. All 4 of these players, or all 3 of them, I should say, the supporting role or members for Thresh, just need to make sure that at least one of them, if not 2 at a certain moments of time, are there to support them from the long-range kills that they're able to find. That's how you keep up with the pace. A nice little framework, and going in full circle of what we were talking about, our biggest concern for the Hilltoppers, can you keep pace with Ottawa Black?
Yep.
The only way you can, as long as one of the subs are keeping pace with Thresh, you're going to be able to at least keep pace with Ottawa Black as a whole.
We'll find out. This is a map that could be not only determined by what happens with the ARs, but you got to keep in the back of your mind the SMG struggles for a couple of different members from both sides on Apocalypse Hardpoint very well could be a difference maker getting into this Moscow Search and Destroy. You need to get good SMG sub pressure, especially around the objective. You can't just get it done with the AR. So a lot of questions to be answered here. Ottawa Black spawning from the technically unfavored side, but working on that. Noisy around the back, almost able to open up some space, but denied. So now SEU Blue, they give away 10 seconds. They need to find a way to try to contest this. You don't want to give away too much here on the first hill.
And again, SUE Blue, they're starting off on that favorite side. I would love to be able to see what their entire weapon setup was from the opening rip, but it doesn't really matter because Ottawa Black's still with the opening gunfights. And yeah, you have 60 seconds. Once P1 does pop before you really start to have to feel the need to push all the way through. Nice stick from Crook. They should be traded out here by Lightning. They sure will. And that's the go clock right now. 10 seconds left on P1. Now you start flooding through apartments. Try to get the P2 spawns in your favor. SUE Blue members are spawning by the Boulevard. It's a north to south spawn, so Ottawa Black, they got to hit this now.
Thresh needs to keep his life. That is the most important thing. He's not able to. Cruelty forcing the issue finds the kill. 36 seconds for Ottawa on the first hill, and a chance to win the spawns here for the second, which, as you see, number 5 and 7 in white spawn up. They will have an opportunity to do just that. Need to deal with this initial pressure from SEU Blue before you can soak up time, and, well, you start to ask the question, can they do it? The answer has definitively been yes so far. SEU Blue left with just a single second of time so far.
Damn. It's not great. It's not great. Ottawa Black, again, they found the timing. They won the opening gunfight from there on out. It has effectively been all of them. Thresh, our X Factor for SUE Blue, has yet to find a kill. I'm sure their AKIA probably suggests otherwise, but Ralph's now trying to fight for some scrap time. There we go. We might be able to get some time. No? Well, Fame's not really happy with you breaking up their household, but that'll finally get you on the board. And you also see where the blue members for SUE Blue are currently located at. Already trying to lock down the rotation. Ottawa Black are trying to threaten that. It's just going to be noisy, so unless they can find a 3-piece, they won't be able to upset this scrap to initial time. And SUE Blue, they need this P3 to be big.
Yeah, Relk's 8 seconds is whatever. It's the fact that he keeps Ottawa Black's attention on the old time, allowing a 3v2 to unfold on behind P3. So, again, really good heads-up play. Relk is, I'm not going to lie, positionally, he's played pretty much every single map near perfectly. He's been really impressing me with how he's played around the map. So big shout-outs there. 6 and 3 for the young man. 24 seconds now on the hill starting to be generated. Ottawa trying to threaten from the backside. Thresh off the reload. Might be overwhelmed here for a moment, but the help from Crook, good. That'll be enough to deal with the break attempt from Ottawa Black. And with 30 seconds actually underneath that, you have to make a decision here if you're the Braves.
And that decision's either going to be, do we hit all the way through? Do we win this gunfight and spawn in for P3? Or do we zone away for P4? It seems to be the latter. rather than the former, and that's the right call. They just try to zone away, turn P4 into a big amount of time, but Thresh says, yeah, I started off slow proper, but I'll go ahead and rectify that with a 5 streak. 5-3 now for the kid. Looking to set themselves up over by P4, but you got lurking members like Noisy in the backside of Bank. Thresh needs help, so that way they can start building up some score streaks. They got to get here. They're already under a lot of pressure through the doggy door, and they will go down.
So now it's about this hit coming out through Bank and from Pillars. Noisy deals with one of the two instances. The second player is still nearby. It's just Eon still left alive, and Noisy says bet. 3 kills in a row for him, cleans things out, and now the spawns will flip around once more. SEU Blue, spawning Boulevard side. Thresh still trying to wait for an opportunity to make a play happen on the flank, but Noisy denies it again. It was a slow map 1 for him. He's on 4 in a row, and he's played a major impact as far as how a lot of these 100 seconds have come through so far. Still dealing with the onslaught of pressure is now Fame, and Ottawa Black will clean up the scrap time and go up about 60 points.
Well, look at them, just already pushing through the courtyard as well. Look what it does for the spawns for SUE Blue going in towards the second set hills. Again, we find ourselves asking for this player for SUE Blue just to keep their life, able to find one. Can they fully get out? Yes, they will. This is so big for Eons, just to continuously be a nuisance by this Boulevard side. That means that the Hilltoppers can work their way onto P1, and you can start working a little bit of a pinch. Eons, just again, finessing, finds Lightning, another 1v1 versus Cruelty, can't bring it home. But then again, isolated a lot of players for Ottawa Black. SUE Blue able to get a little bit of comfort over by P1, and Eon still spawns into 2.
Thresh denied. Noisy having himself a map right now. 9 and 8. Very active around. Lightning working with him. The double SMGs for the Braves really starting to turn the tide to this map. It's slow, but it is turning. That much is for sure. Fame with a double cleans out any pressure from the Hilltoppers, but Relk makes sure the rotation stays safe. 23 seconds left from the first hard point. And for SEU Blue, it feels very similar to what we had in Apocalypse. Just keep yourself in the game. Keep scrapping your way through some of these heavily contested hard points, and eventually, hopefully, you can find a good setup to get yourself back into the game and maybe even find yourself a lead, pending, of course, you can get a full 60 coming up next. But their threat is starting to be established. Ottawa Black starts to make their move.
They need 40 at the bare minimum here. You can't get 40 seconds off P2 from this initial setup. This is going to spiral completely out of control for Ottawa Black. They're already threatening the break from the front. You got players inside of the apartment. That's going to be Eons trying to hit the flank. They know that the players inside of Cutout, they're going to be able to find a free kill. Also from the front is going to be dealt with marginally, but Ottawa Black still spawning effectively inside of lobby. SUV Blue, they got to be able to set themselves up because the hit's coming through the front.
Really good for Eon to deal with the trophy system and then deny themselves a double to the pistol. Knows that Fame is nearby. Cannot survive through the Semtex, though. And the ARs for SEU Blue, they can't contest. Crook is hitting a route. This is a little bit too soon, you would normally feel like, but knowing as he gets dealt with, and maybe this could pan out. Relk nearly finding a double. Cruelty, though, stays alive. And actually, Thresh, I believe, spawned out by Street Side. So now there are a couple of different Hilltopper members that very well may win this rotation. It was a gamble from Crook. And wouldn't you know it, very well may pan out.
Very well might. Again, yeah, we needed good time off of that hard point for SUE Blue. They get that 40-plus seconds I was asking for. But now you got to break this hill within the opening 20. It's going to be tough with the setup that you're dealing with. Ottawa Black back library. Fame with the Trig 6 is able to find a 2-piece. Reading it from the tri-choke as well. Lightning hits it, finds Crook. The initial attempt for the break, not a good one for SEU Blue, but they're setting it up from the OE one more time. We're shooting bodies.
Cruelty.
All right, Austin, calm down.
Yeah, all right.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming, but I guess we're doing that.
Capital D colon.
Game is still close, too. I mean, Ottawa Black are looking good for this back 30 seconds, and apparently Austin really is feeling himself here. 3 in a row, 14 and 10 with over a minute of hill time. Noisy just appreciating the grind for the camo. As SEU Blue, this is a tough rotation. It's like they're set up for a break attempt for scrap time, but at the same rate, I don't know how you get back into this fourth hard point from this position, and the answer is you just don't. The SMGs are already ready to go inside of gold. This is not where you want to be if you're SEU Blue. A big moment coming through as they once again kind of are in a split spawn situation. A couple members behind P3, and obviously for Relk number 3, he's going to try to pinch this from the mid-map.
Nice stick. I'll find my own trade, says Cruelty. I'll shoot bodies and I'll find my own trade. Mr. Do-It-All. Look at this guy. But still, for the initial time, you got to break in here if you are SUE Blue sooner rather than later. But Fame, again, every single time, much like on 3, the same thing happens on the 4. Fame with the Crig 6 gets set up, is able to read where these hits are coming from, finds a 2-piece. That shuts down SUE Blue's initial attempt to try to break this. And you can see for the setup as well for Ottawa Gold. I mean, they are watching all fronts for SUE Blue trying to retake it.
Yeah, and you have to get through gold here for SEU Blue, and whoa, they actually do. 3 kills coming through. Okay, like you mentioned, an opportunity here for SEU Blue to finesse some of the scrap time. But where they've been worst so far has been the first hill coming up next. And you can't afford to be bad there again. You only have 28 seconds between you and a loss where you have to go play Purdue and the Boilermakers next. So we look our attention over towards Metro. Crook is the first one there. He gets caught off guard by lightning, or so it seems. And with that, Ottawa Black, the first team to start touching up some time here in the first hill.
Oh, you just see 20 seconds for Ottawa Black to win this game in 4. They're there for the initial time. SUE Blue have struggled to break hard points within the opening 10 to 20 seconds. They have no choice. They got to do it here. Lightning is able to drop down. Cruelty is able to help things out, but from the side, you find 2 kills, but it's just that. They're consolation kills. Contested time is good enough for the time being, but the reinforcement's not here yet.
Yeah, it's all down to one last attempt. Crook able to find one, traded away. Cruelty able to lock things down, and that will likely be the game. One more player to deal with is Relk. He does find a double, but cannot touch with the AR. And Ottawa Black, in what was the most comfortable map that we've seen so far, take the series in 4. They will move on to the grand finals, where SEU Blue, on the other hand, will have to drop down and meet a very feisty Purdue squad in the lower bracket finals coming up next.
I mean, it's just so scary if you're the Boilermakers, right? I mean, you're looking at this winter finals, you're like, well, realistically, we got to face both these teams. Because Ottawa Black now in grand finals and St. Edwards, you're getting knocked down a lower bracket. They want to face both of these teams. But still, you got to get through the first. And I'm not going to lie, this SUE roster is looking nasty on the map. The one thing, my biggest gripe still when it comes down to these hard points, I almost got to go back and start a ticker every single time I said one specific phrase. Thresh needs help. I mean, so many different times. But over in the Apocalypse hard point on Moscow, we're like, this dude can get some streaks. He can really turn the tides for this team. They're down 80 points. Some streaks would really help out. But their teammates were nowhere to be found. It's got to be a little bit of a miscommunication. The team is still young at the end of the day. They've only been playing together for like what seemingly feels like a week at this point at most. Maybe I'm being generous. But if Thresh gets that little bit of help going forward with some hard points, you can really start taking away a lot of these respawns versus Ottawa Black, as well as some decisive hits back on that control. You very much so could have won that offensive hit once you ended up finding 4 down, but the setup, once you found those 4 kills, just deer in headlights again. They had no idea what to do. But you give this team a little bit more time, maybe even on the day alone, Alan, they're gonna be feisty. They're gonna be nasty. I see a lot of potential with these 4 players.
Very much so. Could not agree more with you there, friend. So what that means is that, yes, like we continue to mention, Ottawa Black make their way into the grand finals from the winners bracket. In the lower finals, Purdue's been waiting, and this will be a rematch of a winners round 1 matchup between SEU Blue and Purdue. And in that series, all of the respawns were tremendously close. Purdue, their 1 map win was on the search and destroy. So some polish will be required here in the respawns if Purdue want to find a way to get some instant revenge versus SEU Blue, and then hopefully have a chance to take on this Ottawa Black team for the first time in the bracket. We'll see how things unfold. We'll step away for what I imagine will be a bit of an extended break, so get yourself set up, refreshed, drinks, beverages, food, whatever you need. Come back, ready to go. It's going to be lower finals at the backside of the break.